good. Yeah.
We're at the end of the year, guys. 2020 has been the only word I could use is motherfucker. It has been a real kick in the ass for so many people. Even on a serious note, it's been a really, really terrible year. And we might as well call it a running gag. For the last couple of episodes, we were celebrating our 50th recording, 50 episodes in the bank. I went and I, rejigged the podcast feed, our subscription feed. If you go to Podbean or go to our podcast page, you can see how I've rejigged the episodes. So if you check out our podcast feed, it's basically the best of the show is already up. And, we're celebrating the show months ago. And now we've come to this point at the end of the year where this is now the series finale of the Voice of Male podcast. How the fuck did this happen? How is this the last episode? Before we get into that, man, I have to apologize. We had a voicemail I've been holding for months from one of our superstars, maybe the queen superstar of voicemailers, T-Kun, the Unusual Wordsmith. She sent us a voicemail. Before we even start on anything else, I'm going to play it. Then we're going to comment on it. And then we'll discuss why this is the end. Maybe for now, maybe forever, of the Voicemail podcast. But T-Kun, let's hear what you got to say. And again, apologies for the delay.
Hey, Von Crew, T-Kun here, wanting to say congratulations on reaching your 50th episode and the promise for more to come and all that good stuff. I thought I'd just do this little recording into sharing just my thoughts on the favorite episodes that you guys have done so far, and again to just look forward to more to come. My first episode that I think by far I had probably the most fun listening to and even partaking in was "'Tis the Coffin Season," the holiday podcast. The one thing I did like about it though is just hearing how many other people got to join in, and it's just like hearing you hear everybody else's chances to just really come together for the season's greetings and just having all sorts of fun with it. And I hoping that whoever else is listening, I hope you also can take the chance to come in and join in the chaos with us. My second favorite episode is when Joe Lee got to meet his brother from another mother of assholeries with Simon Rad and Victims, Hypocrites, and Assholes. Oh man, I feel sorry for you, Don Wonder, with the dastardly duo those two are. And by far, I think the most fun for my third episode, the most fun I had was definitely seeing a new side of Stanley Ike in the episode "Don't Censor Me, Captain Marvel" with William Hicks as a guest star. It was very fun listening and a really strange deep dive when getting to a certain question if you're not sure. Which, by the way, Jolie, don't think you've gotten out of not sharing your answers to that one. Don't think you can run away from that. Your time is coming. No train, no trips to France can save you from it. But yeah, I just thought I'd congratulate you guys for all this. And again, hoping for more episodes to come and all the good stuff that comes. And to everybody else who listens and partakes in this, thank you so much for helping these guys out, for bringing extra entertainment and everything. Let's try to keep the Voice of Male going and all the funs we can have. Take care. T-Kun out.
Well, T-Kun said that so many times, I think I have to press this button.
She just said like all this nice sweet
I
thing.
know. Oh
and that's a reward. Wow.
Yeah, here's your reward. The show's done. It's over, T-Kun. It's over. You know why it's over? Because we didn't get enough voicemails from people like you.
Oh no, that's true. That is true. But you know what? Just hearing her, it was worth it. I mean, she's always been really cool. She's been ride or die, and even though I've managed to escape some of her questions by either literally going to France or riding in a train, I'm glad that I possibly don't need to face them in the future. But there you go.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was super touching. That was really, really.
It was, man.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
Because you could hear the sincerity in her voice and everything. So
yeah, and that makes me feel good to see that we brought some joy to some people. And I know there's so many, all of our guests, which I'm not even going to name right now because it's a long list. Well, we'll definitely name them at the end if we don't forget. But we thank each and every guest, every listener. And of course, we owe you an explanation why the show is ending. And before I even start, I want to say this isn't a surprise for Jody or Stanley. I told them weeks ago, maybe even I'll say 2 months ago now, my decision to do it. And
it would have been great if you just did drop it during this podcast. You were like, hey, by the way, guys, it's a wrap. This is the last one. So you just drop the mic at the end of the episode. We're like, what's happening?
Nah, I couldn't do it, man. I couldn't do it like that. It's disrespectful to you, and it's unnecessary. And again, Stan, when we spoke to Impressions of America, and they were talking about when we had that question about what's your goals with the podcast, and why would you keep on going with the podcast? That's foundationally why the podcast is ending. And I have to be completely honest with you guys. The reason why the show is ending is a number of reasons I'll get into, but the fundamental reason is that the show, as it exists now and as it has been for the last 9 months, isn't the show I conceived. Voice of Mail podcast was meant to be about people's voicemail. It was meant to be people bringing in voicemails, voicing their opinions or bringing ideas, just sharing their thoughts on anything. That was the foundation. It was meant to be like a snowball effect where you send in a voicemail, we discuss it, and then someone might reply to that. All the other stuff I did, the trailers, that was all kind of breadcrumb stuff to bring interest, to garner interest, to just garner conversation. So you come to now where, in my opinion, it's kind of like the show's kind of like the Donald Wonder and Friends show where we speak about, it's a good variety show and it's fun to do, but it's not what the show was meant to be. And as I've gone on, and I've said this multiple times, that we're not getting enough voicemails, and then I've tried to galvanize people by doing different things. Me and Stanley spent money on marketing on Facebook, Instagram. I printed stickers, I handed out flyers, we went to meetings. In it, Stan? I mean, we did this online, in person, so many things. And, you get to the point as a creative, and I don't want to sound like highfalutin when I say that, but when you're creating something, when do you stop? When do you realize this isn't what I want it to be? And, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm having fun doing it, but this show isn't what it's meant to be, and it could be better. And when I look at it, if we want to analyze why it isn't what it's meant to be, there could be so many reasons. Like, number one, if you look at the emerging platforms where people have communities and discussions on, look at Twitch. Twitch is a place where there's a built-in community. Community is the foundation of Twitch. They're literally posting comments on the video, calling you, sending donations right there. It's interaction-based. I don't think a podcast to me is more of a one-way system where you have the guests on, but getting people to voicemail in was meant to be a two-way system, but it's kind of a big ask. It's not inherent into the medium. Reddit, again, community-based. Discord, community-based. Does that mean we were on the wrong platform to do this? For a voicemail podcast? Possibly. This might not have been the right place to garner the community and to get people's interaction, so that might have been a mistake. In terms of where we went to market, using Twitter, Instagram, again, it's a big ask, and I'm going to put a little bit of blame on myself and say that, this year, coronavirus was a big opportunity where people were looking for content. They were looking for content creators to be there all the time, to serve them while they're inside isolating. And, I couldn't put out more content. So that was another missed opportunity. So, and then it just if I look, to be completely blunt, if I look at the analytics, how many people are listening, it just slowly dwindled as we stopped putting out less episodes. We're not on so a combination of things. And creatively, I just started to lose. I was starting to become more frustrated. And now I'm just at the point where I feel like I want to change lanes and work on other things. Let me stop there and say, what do you guys think of that? Because that's kind of the culmination of reason what I thought. Right now, I think we need to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you pretty much. I feel like everything you said is pretty much true. We possibly, I wouldn't say we underestimated what how like the kind of base you'd need for this kind of podcast to succeed, but I feel like we were just kind of seeing how things would go, and then that seeing how things would go vibe or feeling just kind of stuck around. So I guess and that's why it didn't really take off. So I for me, at the end of the day, you were doing a lot of the legwork and everything. So for me, the minimum I had to do was kind of participate by attending and bringing some stuff for the discussion every now and then. So that made it easier. But at the end of the day, yeah, this was more than just like a hobby or a meetup. So I definitely feel like for now, there's nothing wrong with putting the whole thing on ice, and then just seeing where the future kind of takes us for now. Because it's not the kind of, it's the kind of thing. It's the premise. You would need essentially a base or a back and forth with like your audience essentially for it to be a success from the get-go, which we didn't really have. We were kind of thinking maybe we'll grow it, but
that's why it was an uphill battle to begin with.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's I think the key word of having an audience and a community there, which is I mean, the hope is always the content will allow itself to basically garner the audience, and then you start to see it grow, and then that was the hope there. But I could see exactly what you're talking about, Jesse, at the beginning. Was you had this conception, and to make the adjustments, as the show just went on, it became something else to what you originally thought. So I can understand what it was. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing, so to speak, because the way it was growing and the way it was kind of evolving, I enjoyed it thoroughly, because it was, it's three people putting out, good content. And, but I get from your end, you were doing a lot of the legwork, a lot of the brunt work there. So, I mean, me just simply participating, I could see, there's a hell of a lot of work that, our listeners wouldn't know about, but particularly from your end there. So, and then after a while, you would have thought, well, the hope would be that it would just start to, basically go on its own engine, where,
exactly.
its own steam, where you'd say, I've got this show, I've got this platform, I've got a community, and it's growing into something. But if it starts to basically become like, well, we're kind of just stagnating and it doesn't seem to be going anywhere, although this is really enjoyable, I mean, it also has to go somewhere. I wanted to go from A to B, but it wasn't, it didn't meet our expectations, so to speak. So, but I mean, that's why this is a really bittersweet thing, episode here, because I mean, when I look back at it, someone had asked me, is there any regrets or anything like that? I was like, of course not, because I actually enjoyed it. I mean, I looked forward to it. I've always had a lot of fun, and from what people who did listen, with friends and family and colleagues, they loved it as well. But I think it's just probably maybe things like, as you said, with marketing, but probably less with that. I think maybe convenience and interaction. It's, because interactivity, if you see, like, as you mentioned with Twitch or Reddit, I mean, people just can connect with it so easily, and maybe it could be logistical issues like that. But yeah, as Stan said, putting it on ice for the moment. And if there are ways to fix it in the future, then maybe we can.
I just want to add, I want to be brutally honest. This is the time to be brutally honest. A voicemail podcast isn't a genius idea. It's not like, oh, I had the great idea. It's just like, Apple, the iPhone. Nothing's new under the sun. This was essentially a radio show. And I love the concept of just, I want you to talk with 3 people that I really click with, and we can banter and talk about things and just get more people on. The more voicemails we had, the more enjoyable it was for me, and I felt like that's what made it unique. You listening made it unique. You people that contributed, who sent voicemails, made it unique. Obviously us 3, our banter and our characters or our personalities made it what it was as well, but it's a team effort. But the team is everyone else, and the team, again, that's the whole point. Everyone was meant to be the team never grew. It was just us. And I just felt like I can hang with you guys offline. If I want to have banter with you guys, I don't need to do a podcast about it. It's just, it's just self-serving. I don't need to do that. The whole point was to get people in and to give them a platform. I thought people would want the opportunity to voice men in. I just thought, hey, you know what? It's a good idea to give people whether it's the UK or US, whatever, in this small corner, what we talk about, I thought people would, flock to it, and they didn't. And it might just be because of the platform, but it's not a genius idea. It's something people do on all these other podcasts. But saying that, again, it depends. The simplest idea can work depending on how you execute it. And I just wonder if the execution done differently would work. That's why for me, this show is on ice and not cancelled completely. I like the idea and I want to return to it somewhere down the line. I mean, this could be 5-10 years from now. That's long term, but
I think
I'm thinking long term.
I think in terms of the concept, I think it was a strong one because obviously other shows, radio shows and podcasts do segments where they will read out emails or voice notes or whatever. But this show was about that purely. It was, at least that's what it was supposed to be about that exclusively. So I think that's what made it unique. But at the end of the day, I think it comes down to people want to get stuff off their chest or maybe participate in those kind of shows. However, I think you have to have some clout for someone to even want to bother. Like, because when I think about other shows where they're like, get in touch, reach out, send us an email, the people who are running those shows or podcasts are notable, well, not notable, but they have an established either podcast or radio show or whatever kind of show it is, YouTube show, blah blah blah, and people have been consuming their content for some time, so therefore they have that viewership. So I think that's where it comes down to, because we were just right off the bat like, just reach out. So it just didn't quite work. And I think another thing as well is about timing, because I do think that there are a lot of shows out there that are not that special, but they've just been around for a long time. Definitely. So therefore they had the early cut of the pie, or slice of the pie, if you will. So therefore they're still enjoying that. Whereas if you're just starting off like within the last year or so, or a couple of years even, then it's not really going to be that easy, because this 100% podcasting situation started to get really saturated.
It's either be first or be the best type thing, So I see exactly what you mean there. But I mean, again, this is something that could be reviewed in the future in terms of how that could be looked into or amended in that way. Because I do watch other content, be it mainly on YouTube, where I could see, similar shows to us and things, and they don't do anything content-wise differently. Like, I mean, well, basically they'll do like obviously different things, but it's just not really in terms of what I'm speaking about is the levels of conversation. I mean, they have similar conversations to what we have, but they all of a sudden you see like these kind of like six-figure, sometimes 7-figure numbers, and you just kind of scratch your head thinking, oh what? But I think as you mentioned there, Stan, some people may have just got there earlier, or they're on such a platform, be it it could be based on a TV channel or a radio station, or just themselves being like, big, YouTube star or whatever. They've already kind of, got that audience already. And that's why they can put out that content, which isn't really, kind of discernibly like, actually too interesting, but they've already got that audience, there.
Absolutely.
So we could be making the most fantastic content in the world, but if we don't have people, the numbers following us, then, what can you do? I mean,
Correct.
it's not you, is it? It's trying to get the numbers up.
It's in everything. I mean, I remember just growing up, there was this restaurant that sold these custom burgers that they had the meat from France and they had all these ingredients, but no one really, where they were set up, there wasn't a lot of footfall, so they didn't make a lot of business. So again, I'm sure this happens in multiple businesses in different ways. So look, I was broken up about it when I made the decision, but at the same time, I'll be honest with you guys, I felt a sense of relief as well, because there's other things I want to work on. Like you guys, for example, are working on other creative things that, I don't know when they'll come to full fruition, but I want to, you guys were helping me on my creation, but you guys got ideas I want to lend my skills to. So I'm really excited to work on, help you guys what you're doing. On top of that, you guys know I'm a, engineer, producer. There's other things I want to focus on, the Woody Allen podcast is there, Planet Tyro. So, although this voicemail is on ice right now, the relationship I have with you guys is not only strong, but it's leading to other things, which is really exciting for me. So this is a chance for us to all pivot and flex our muscles in different ways. And, you might see us all working on a completely different project that could be much more successful than this. And then, that might turn around and bring this back up somehow. So this isn't the end for us as friends or as a crew, or if people, so I know some people are going to be mad at me for breaking this up, which is fine, justified and all that. But, honestly, guys, with anything creative, I said this before, you got to know when to stop. For yourself, some people just keep doing something for whatever reason. That's not me. I feel like getting to 50 was a great milestone. We did some great interviews, podcasts, specials, stuff like that. I'm proud of what we did. I'm proud of the guests we had. I'm proud of the episode count, the audio quality, everything. We had as my buddy Ade from Black Ticklet said, we have a very good body of work, which the YouTube channel will still be there. We're going to host. Me and Stanley are going to discuss if we're going to keep the podcast feed active, because it costs money. And the actual subscribers right now, the listeners aren't, we don't know if it's worth justifying. Maybe we'll leave that up to the audience to decide. Are you guys still listening? I mean, looking at the analytics, it doesn't seem to be justified worth the price, especially when we can put it on YouTube and you can go there and listen to it. I know it's not the same as having it on your podcast app, but we got to do what we got to do. So, but yeah, for the next 2 or 3 months, the podcast feed will definitely still be there. Definitely, I'll promise you guys this, definitely until March 2021. If you want to listen to the episodes of Voice and Mail, they will be there. But after that, we'll put it on Twitter as well. We will let you guys know when we're shutting down the feed. And you know what? Actually, I won't even make March the final promise. Follow us on Twitter. We will announce that we'll give you 1 month's notice when we're going to take down the feed, if we're going to take it down. So follow us on Twitter at VOM Podcast if you want to find out when we're going to be shutting that down. But our YouTube channel is always going to be there. It's free. YouTube's free. So why are we going to take anything down there? Go to YouTube. All our clips are there. But yeah, man, I don't want this to be doom and gloom. I just wanted to give an explanation why. And yeah, that's the only voicemail. T-Kun's one, it's the only one we're going to play today. You guys had your chance. You had 2.5 years of voicemailing. So if you're mad at me now, it sucks to be you. You had your chance.
I think it's pretty fair, to be honest, because we just wanted to make it like a low-key kind of conversational episode. And Tiku's one was real apt and timely as well. So yeah.
We're going to talk about some things in the news. This is a normal episode as well. Yes, the last episode, but we got some news. We need to catch up on a few things. So I've got a few things I want to throw out there. This probably ain't going to be 3 hours, but I do intend to put this episode up today. We're recording it on Saturday the 19th before Christmas. I'm intending to putting up at the very latest to Sunday because we want this out. Want you guys to hear it. But guys, the voicemail system is still there, but the show's over. Don't bother sending any voicemails because we're not going to play them. And for those, because we're not going to be around. And for those voicemails I didn't play, because there were some people that did send voicemails, honestly, the reason why I didn't play them, the conversations has stopped now. There's no point in us following up on that because we just stopped. So I apologize for that. But those people were the same, are regulars. So forgive us for that. I apologize, but we hope you enjoy the rest of the episode. Anyway,
that was like a moment of silence.
Yeah.
1 minute silence.
Yeah.
Silence for the listeners. Yeah. Oh my god.
I know. I was about to go on one knee. For the fist bump,
you son of a bitch. Oh, that was perfect. I was actually wondering, that was like a game of chicken. Like, who's going to talk first?
If this was filmed, there would have been like an RIP sign. If it's like from 2018 to 2020, and you're like, oh.
So yeah,
I was just going to say, in all seriousness, with the people that did reach out through voicemails and stuff, massive appreciation, because I know some of them were friends of the show and they're kind of doing their duty as friends of the show, showing some support. So, even that goes a long way, and we really appreciate that as well. So
we do.
Thanks.
Well said. So
please leave another message at voiceofmail.com.